Hey everyone, I am back with a new video and this is going to be the third video in my generation series, this time focusing on USA. And in the first clip, I am basically doing some practice sketches using some of you as reference, and I am only showing 4 in this video, but I did at least 30 selfie sketches because I received a lot of photo submissions, which was to be expected since that's kind of majority of my demographic. But at the same time, I was honestly only expecting to do like 8 sketches as a warm-up and as a practice, like 4 from selfie submissions and 4 from the internet. But I felt kind of bad if I had to narrow down the number of submissions from like 30 plus to 4 sketches of people who submitted their photos because I feel like it takes a lot of confidence to submit your selfie. So in a way, I wanted to honor that or respect that. I don't know if that's the proper word to use, but yeah, I felt as if it would be unfair for me to choose just 4 because, like, what's my criteria going to be? Would I just choose the 4 people who I think are attractive? Like, that's such a horrible way to select 4 because I didn't want to give the idea that I chose your selfie because you were pretty or that I didn't choose your selfie because you weren't pretty enough. Like, no. So I thought, you know what? I'll just try and sketch everyone who submitted their photo for this country and see how we go. So overall, it took me 3 days just for the sketches because I didn't realize this in the previous video, but having to draw over 30 people, it became evident that I had put so much pressure on myself. And not just to complete the 30 sketches, but also just being able to draw people. Because I have interacted at least once or twice on social media with the people I've sketched, and so there's a chance that they will see this video and the sketches, and I was just worried that they won't like it. Does that make sense? I don't even know, because it's like, you've trusted me with this, and I just don't want to disappoint you. That's just how I was feeling throughout. Because, for example, when I'm using a reference photo from Pinterest or Google Images to practice or just for random sketching, I normally don't feel as if the face has to look like the model that I'm using as a reference, so I don't feel anxious whether that random person on the internet who I don't know and probably will never interact with in person or even online, if they're going to like the sketch. So yeah, I just wanted to share that, I suppose, because it is part of our artistic journey. Like, we're always going to find a way to somehow doubt ourselves, and I don't actually have a method to get over that doubt that I could share with you guys. I wish I did, but I suppose it's really just about keeping in mind what your goal is. So even if I had doubts and I was pressuring myself, I still had to push through because my goal was to make this video, and if I had let the pressure and that self-doubt consume me, then I'd eventually have nothing. I wouldn't finish anything or I wouldn't achieve the goal I set out. So that kind of leads me to my decision, which is to close the submissions for the remaining countries. I am so sorry, but I had a look at the photos that were already submitted, and there was also a lot. Maybe not as much as USA, but a similar number, somewhere between 25 to 30 for majority of the countries. So I'm so sorry if you want to submit your selfie, but I really want to prevent it from increasing any further because I wasn't expecting more than 20 submissions for each country, actually. I was expecting somewhere between like 5 and 10, which is way off, I now realize. So, yeah, I wouldn't want it to lead to a point where I received like 50 for a country and I'd have to select because, like I said, how am I even going to do that? It'll just be completely unfair. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on, I will be talking about the technique that I used for the coloring because in the very first video of this series, I mentioned that it was a coloring method that was new to me, so I didn't feel as if I could really talk about it. And then in the second video, I forgot my process, so I was basically back to square one, so I didn't really get to elaborate on it. But with this drawing, I made sure to remember, and I am super happy with how the coloring turned out. So, like always, I am using Copic markers and using the chisel nib to color. And the first thing I do is lay down the base color, which is the lightest shade of her skin. And I make sure that I have a lot of ink so that it's a nice flat layer. And this kind of balances the not so smooth layers that will be added later on. The next thing I do is I map out the shadows with the skin colors. So like my base color was E51, and the three shades I use for the skin for the shadows are the E31, E33, and E35. So those three colors I mainly use for places like the cheeks, the eyes, and the neck. And it's very similar to how you would normally color or shade normal semi-realistic skin. Like those are the dominant colors. And once I'm happy with that, I start to add the colors like the blue, pink, purple, and yellow. And there isn't really a formula. I kind of just color in places that I feel like would look good. I just trust my gut feeling, I guess. But I have noticed that I tend to put the blue in dark areas and the yellow in light areas. And because I really want her skin color to still be prominent, like I want it to still look like semi-realistic skin. So I only use the colors sparingly so that it doesn't seem overwhelming. And that's why I add the blue to the dark areas, but not all dark areas, just selectively. Hopefully that makes sense. And I do the same for the other colors like yellow, pink, and purple. And that's pretty much just the thought behind the coloring of this piece and the previous two, I guess. To kind of balance it out, I keep the hair a single solid color, that it's practically a flat color, but I just add highlights here and there so that it doesn't look as flat, and yeah, that's it. I am really happy with how this turned out. She looks different from the other two, which was the aim, obviously. And speaking of, I will actually hold back on showing the pieces side by side as I progress through this series because I kind of want it to be a big reveal or something. Like, I don't know how they're going to be arranged at the moment because there's only three of them, but I know that I don't want to arrange them in the order that I am doing these videos. So when I finish the 12th drawing in this project, then I'll have to figure out the best way to arrange them. And I will show that in the final video. So fingers crossed that I actually get to that point. And yeah. Just briefly, I want to talk about my choices for her facial features. So the sketches did help because America is such a multicultural country, and doing the 30 plus sketches allowed me to see a variety, but at the same time pick out distinctive features. And at the beginning, when I first encountered the list of countries, I immediately knew that I wanted Native American or American Indian for this country. And I did receive a couple photos of mixed races, and I thought that I might want to go in that direction, like to make her seem racially ambiguous, but at the same time distinctive, like you can tell what she is, which is very contradicting, but yeah, hopefully that translates. So I went with almond-shaped eyes with a subtle eyelid just because it's what I've noticed in the photo references. And then the nose is long, but not thin and not wide either. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, then of course, high cheekbones and a prominent jaw. That's basically the thought behind the decisions I made for her facial features. And yeah, that is about it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. That would mean so much to me. And subscribe if you haven't already. You can also check out my social media links in the description box below. Like always, I've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.